that's something that I enjoy doing, which is talking to people and expressing an opinion which perhaps has not had much voice like the ponies.
Yeah.
So I mean, my first my first connection with ponies was growing up in Kentmere in the middle of the lakes as a child. And I, being pony mad from the word dot, really, which is, I mean, it's, I suppose you're either not, you either are or you're not. And you're kind of got this feeling about wanting to be with them, wanting to know more about them, wanting to experience what they experience. And so I became a voice for that. And my work, I suddenly realized that I went to art college and did illustration and graphic design. But I wanted to be with horses. And my next love, of course, is what I talk about, is farming. So it's the farming and the ponies. So productive ponies, ponies that could do things. Ponies that could drive and could go in harness and could go and pick up the bales of hay from somewhere and feed other animals, could chain harrow the fields, could perhaps do a bit of helping out with first thinnings in snigging out timber. And so that became it was seeing what they could do because they were working with you. So as I was explaining, it's that bond, it's that partnership, it's the trust. You trust them, they trust you. So within that, lots of things happened, and I realized that I couldn't have a job that wasn't with them. So I made myself what I did was I looked at ways that I could actually use them as the ponies and what the ponies did that could become my workplace. So with the lecturing, then it was about the ponies and about grassland management and about then working the ponies and about how the ponies lived and what you could do with them. So ended up teaching weekends of the small holders pony, about how, you know, all right, you've got your pony, biggish pony, even small horse, like Welsh cobs and, you know, all the type of ponies and horses that people had. Why not get them to be useful, that if you wanted to feed things on your small holding, you could train them to go in a vehicle, and pull a cart and deliver things around the small farm for you and be useful. And so that's what I used to train. And people were fascinated by that, because there was a bit of a resurgence in heavy horse work, because we've had this environmental thread running through a lot over the last 30, 40 years, where within that concept of maybe a horsepower on a small scale that is kind of painting a really nice picture to more of the world, and the understanding that a lot of the world is still got horse and animal power. Where, you know, we've moved into the Industrial Revolution, and what happened was that I started up a business of carriage driving for doing weddings and special occasions, birthdays, where there was a carriage and children could go for a ride, going to different fetes and special occasions. And then that got me into doing filming for the BBC and for a few film companies as a, you know, the period piece, the horse and carriage. And I got my qualifications to teach carriage driving, and did a bit of commercial work. Then went to a Black Country Museum and was the curator there to create a working carter's yard within the museum. Now it's an open living museum like Beamish, but it's in the middle of Dudley, where the start of the Industrial Revolution basically happened. And so we did that, and we would dress the street, i.e. dress up in period costume, which was great fun, and talked to all the school children that came in. And it's that time that I realised that it was important that more people need to know, not the fact that it's a living history, but it's also a history with the future. And as we've sort of progressed over the last, say, since the turn of the century, we've got this real feeling towards our environment and to our planet and to living things all being healthy and happy. And this kind of thing with understanding animals and understanding how they are in the environment, that's kind of built on it more and more. So as I've always had this passion for fell ponies, we're sort of round about the mid sort of kind of 2012, 2015, because we were actually out in France because we had a farm out there, but I had ponies as well. I used to breed them a bit because when we'd moved to France at the end of the 1990s, I'd taken my 4 commercially trained ponies with me and started breeding from them. And within that, I could see, being in France, what was going on with the fell pony in its region, and it was kind of losing its foothold. It was losing its way of life. The breeders that were breeding them as extensively grazing herd up on the fell are becoming less and less. And so I thought, right, after Brexit, we came back poorer for it, because it's much cheaper to live out there and buy land than it is here. But I feel as though there's a kind of a flag I must fly for the ponies. So education, going to schools, colleges, the children at schools being able to see a real pony. Colleges were doing animal care courses or zoology courses or anything to do with the environment, being able to see how these ponies live and complement their habitat and environment. And it's a must. And so that's why I set up the Fell Pony Heritage Trust in 2017. And built it from there. There's only a small number of us because there's only a small number of ponies and enthusiasts, really. There's about 8 or 9 of us, and we're, as I say, building a voice for them, giving an idea of their presence to as many people as possible.